little bit of the yang tonic. Thumos. Thumos stands for, it means fire in the belly. Apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, paprika, either one. Alright, a very cool talk today, guys. Join me. Sit back. Let's go deep. You know, hold on a second. Let me close this. I think it's too much noise. Alright, important talk today. If we can get this right, if I can get this right, if I can apply this principle we're going to be talking about today, my life will change. My life will be a steady progression. Let's talk about it. We're talking about time blocks today, okay? And I've been on this book for a little while now. The One Thing. We're going to dive a little deeper today. This will probably be the last talk from this book. This is one of the books that you want to have on your bookshelf. One of the books that you pull out every year and you go through. The principles in here, every sentence is formulated that makes you think. Every chapter filled with quotes from the greatest minds that you can constantly come back to and reevaluate yourself, your goals, your life, and see if you're doing on the right path. Gary Keller really got it right with this super important book. So let's go. I'm a bit unorganized today. Give me a second to find my place. I already did that one, the begging bowl. Okay. We'll start this off by a quote from Francine J. It says, "My goal is no longer to get more done, but rather to have less to do." Whenever I teach productivity, I always start by asking, what type of time managing system do you use? The answers are always varied as the number of people in the room. The answers are as varied as the number of people in the room. Paper calendar, electronic calendar, day timer, at a glance weekly planner, you name it and I hear it. I then ask, so how did you choose yours? The reasons cited come in every shape, size, color, price, and criteria imaginable. But the students invariably describe the format, not the function. What they are, not how they work. So when I say, that's great, but what kind of system do you use? The answer is always the same. What do you mean? Listen guys, well, if everyone has the same amount of time, and yet some earn more than others, I ask, can we then say that it's how we use our time that determines the money we make? So really what he's saying here is, can we agree on that time is money? Everyone always agrees. So I continue. If this is true, that time is money, then the best way to describe a time managing system might just be by the money it makes. So, do you think you're using the 10,000 a year system, the 20,000 a year system, the 50,000, the 100,000, or the 500,000 a year system? Are you using the 1 million plus system? He says the room goes silent until inevitably someone asks, how do we know? And Gary says, he asks the crowd, he says, well, how much do you make? So, how much do you guys make right now? Because if time is money, and look at how much you're making, and that'll show you how you're using your time. Okay? This is very important. I want you to listen clear. It might take some thinking. You might have to listen to this twice. But if we can get this, guys, it will change your lives. The strange thing about my life is that I've never worked for anyone who wasn't a millionaire or didn't become one. I didn't set out for this to happen. It just did. And the most important thing I learned from these experiences is that the most successful people are the most productive people. You see, guys, we can have all the purpose that we can have purpose in our life. We know what we're here for. Elisha is here for this. John, you are here for this. Bobby, you're here for this. Luke, your goal, your mission, your purpose is this. Now listen closely. Purpose without priority is powerless. Purpose must have priority. That's when you have power. Alright, let's go on. And just like it said, the most successful people are the most productive people. Productive people get more done, achieve better results, and earn far more in their hours than the rest. They do so because they devote maximum time to being productive on their top priority, their one thing. They time block their one thing and then protect their time blocks with a vengeance. They've connected the dots between working their time blocks consistently and the extraordinary results they seek. Now keep in mind, okay, productive action transforms life. Priority transforms lives. If we have a purpose, that's great. Productivity, action transforms lives. Now let's move on. What is time blocking? This is what I want you guys to learn. This is what I have to teach myself. When I'm growing up in my 20s, I realized that it's very important to have some sort of routine, some sort of schedule. Benjamin Franklin did this, right? He woke up, he did his work, he wrote his letters, he had nap time, he had dinner time, he had hours devoted to reading. Okay, great men have schedules, have routine. Now, I'm learning how to focus that routine, how to make a schedule that is very efficient for success. Like I said before, it's not just a to-do list, it's a routine for success. Let's see how to best set up this. And this is where we are right now, time blocking, guys. Okay? It's very simple, but how many of us apply this? Listen carefully. I often say that I come from a long line of lethargic people. This is usually good for a laugh, but it's also true. It seems at times that my genes just might have more in common with the tortoise than the hare. On the other hand, some of the people I work with are so blessed with energy, they actually vibrate. Amazingly, they're able to work long hours over extended periods and never wear down. When I try to follow suit, in less than a week, my body simply falls apart. I'm sure we've all been there. I've discovered that no matter how hard I try, I can't use more time as my main means of doing more. It's just not physically possible. So given my constraints, I've had to find a way to be highly productive in the hours I can put in. So he says, I can't use more time as my main means of doing more. So the more time that we give ourselves doesn't mean we're going to complete more. Okay? There's a cool quote while we're on that. I want to read. What does it say about when people say a day in? This is by Ambrose Bierce. He says day in, a period of 24 hours, mostly misspent. Let's say day off, right? Day off. a period of 24 hours, mostly misspent. So just because the time's there doesn't mean that the productivity, that the priority, the action is there. Very true for me, okay? He says the solution here is time blocking. Most people think there's never enough time to be successful, but there is when you block it. Time blocking is a very result-oriented way of viewing and using time. It's a way of making sure that what has to be done gets done. Alexander Graham Bell said, "Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand. The sun rays do not burn until brought to a focus." Time blocking harnesses your energy and centers it on your most important work. It's productivity's greatest power tool. This is a power tool, time blocking. Now, don't make the mistake when I say time blocking to think that of a barrier. Like, that's not what it means by block. It means by a block of time, a certain perimeter. Let's move forward. So go to your calendar and block off all the time you need to accomplish your one thing. If it's a one thing, block off the appropriate hours and days. If it's a regular thing, block off the appropriate time every day so it becomes a habit. Everything else, other projects, paperwork, emails, calls, correspondence, meetings, and all other stuff must wait. When you time block like this, you're creating the most productive day possible in a way that's repeatable every day for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, listen here guys, this is what separates us. Unfortunately, if you're like most individuals, your typical day might look something like this figure. So this is a typical day, alright? For most people. This is our one thing, okay? One thing right here. Say our most important thing today is to spend time researching. Our next most important thing is to write a paper on that, okay? So a typical day would be some time spent researching, and then the other part of the day doing everything else. Cleaning the house, hanging out with friends, calling your mother on the phone, okay? Now it says, the most productive people's day is dramatically different. If disproportionate results come from one activity, then you must give that one activity disproportionate time. Each and every day, ask this focusing question for your block time. Today, what's the one thing I can do today? What's the one thing I can do for my one thing such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or necessary? When you find the answer, you'll be doing the most leveraged activity for your most leveraged work. This is how results become extraordinary. Those who do this, in my experience, are the ones who not only become the most accomplished, but who also have the most career opportunities. Slowly but surely, they become known in their organization for their one thing. Now, we saw the typical day. Now this is the productive day. You can see the two side by side. The productive day, half your one thing spent doing the one thing. This comes first. We learned about willpower. We learned when it's the highest in the morning, when our average energy levels, when we have a full gauge to put into this one thing. Then everything else second, okay? So whereas right here, we're only given a little time and everything else. Okay, now this time block. Now let's go into this. A time block is a period of time. You have your one thing. The time block is a period of time that you set aside every single day. So if your goal is to write 10 articles, you wake up in the morning, you set a time from, let's say, it says here, he recommends 4 hours a day. for a time block. Okay, so 4 hours a day, minimum, guys, minimum. If we're serious about making goals, accomplishing things, a minimum of 4 hours. He says, honestly, that's a minimum. If you can do more, then do it. Looking to Stephen King, the great writer, he describes his workflow. He says, my own schedule is pretty clear cut. Mornings belong to whatever is new, the current composition. Afternoons are for naps and letters. Evenings are for reading, family, Red Sox games on TV, and any revisions that just cannot wait. Basically, mornings are my prime writing time. 4 hours a day may scare you more than King's novels, but you can't argue with his results. Stephen King is one of the most successful and prolific writers of our time. So he says, whenever I tell this story, there is always one person who says to me, well, sure, it's easy for Stephen King. He's Stephen King. To that I simply say, I think the question you must ask yourself is this. Does he get to do this because he is Stephen King? Or is he Stephen King because he does this? He says that invariably stops the discussion cold. So, time blocking. Stephen King says he's most productive in the morning. He sets aside 4 hours. And this is so simple, guys. In theory, you're like, okay, Elijah, plan, set aside time, easy. But in coming up with a to-do list, all right, this is the morning. From the morning on, what are you doing, right? For me, I'm working out, I'm meditating, I'm going to work. I sometimes make a video, I sometimes read, right? If my most important thing is to read, then I need to be time blocking, guys. If I know that the only way that I'm going to progress and I need to be taking as much knowledge as possible, right? If your most important goal is to write 10 articles, if it's to get a better body, time block, my friends, right here. And like Stephen King said, most productive in the morning. I know that I am too, because as the day goes on, I lose that willpower. I lose that drive to pick up that book, to really dive in, to make myself sit still. Okay? So the most productive things. So, time blocking, right here. 4 hours. At least 4 hours a day devoted to the most important things. And guys, look at it. My most important thing, I'm going to give it to you. Reading. So reading right now. Once I do that, okay, once I don't have to read for the 4 hours. Once I do my reading, then I ask myself, now what's the next one thing? What's the next most important thing that by doing such will make everything else easier or necessary? And I move to that. And then if I complete that, I ask myself the same question again. So this 4 hour, this time block, anything outside of this is a distraction. Anything outside of this time block can wait. Okay, very important. Once we find this, we time block, we put the effort in, give ourselves, he says, at least 4 hours. Efficiency is doing the right thing. Effectiveness is doing the right thing. Peter F. Drucker. And I'll leave you guys with this. He asked Jerry Seinfeld. He said he got a thing for, let me just read it straight to you. And this is a very cool way to understand. In July 2007, software developer Brad Isaac shared a productivity secret he reportedly got from comedian Jerry Seinfeld. Before Seinfeld was a household name and still regularly toured, Isaac ran into him at an open mic comedy club and asked him for advice on how to be a better comedian. Listen to this. Seinfeld told him the key was to write jokes. Hint, his one thing, Jerry Seinfeld's one thing, was to write jokes every day. And the way he'd figured out how to make that happen was to hang a huge annual calendar on the wall and then put a big red X across every day. He worked on his craft. After a few days, you'll have a chain, Seinfeld said. Just keep at it and the chain will grow longer every day. You'll like seeing the chain, especially when you get a few weeks under your belt. Your only job is to not break the chain. Don't break the chain, guys. Don't break the chain. He was asked, how do you become a better comedian? Jerry Seinfeld said, I write more jokes on a daily basis. He put an X for every day that he wrote a joke, that he honed his craft. Don't break the chain. Okay? The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. So what does that mean? We want to develop good habits. And how long does it take to develop a habit, guys? 66 days on average. So if we can apply this discipline to building the habits, to having these time blocks where we're doing stuff in those 4 hours. Imagine you put 66 days of structured, of this self-discipline, right? You put your energy into developing. If I read for 66 days, if I floss for 66 days, I'm doing this now. I've never flossed this long straight. I know I need to. 66 days, apply this discipline. A habit, on average, is formed. Okay? Boosting us. Making us level up in a sense, guys. We want to level up, man. This is how you do it. Apply the discipline for that time period. Have these time blocks where we're doing these most important things and not breaking that chain. Okay? Not breaking that chain. Listen, we're going to have the downfalls. We're going to slip up. Eat that piece of cake. Miss that workout. Miss, doing that day of work. Miss sitting down to write. Miss sitting down to read. Well, then start over. Okay? Start over. Start applying discipline. Start looking at your life with importance. Most importantly, start valuing your time. I tell myself this every day because I'm in a world where there's a lot of excess. When I go to the library, I'm immediately hit with all these new bestseller books, right? And I catch myself drifting, just like kind of hanging out there, looking at all the new books. All right? When I know that I need to just sit down and apply my time wisely. It's just a distraction. Everything else outside of this time block is a distraction. Now, this time block, set yours when you know you're peaking, guys. Maybe you're terrible in the mornings. Maybe you wake up, you're sluggish, you can't get going. Well, then that's fine, okay? Make it a priority. 4 hours, right? 4 hours a day, hone your craft. Set a time. Maybe it's at night and do it. Maybe you're most creative at night. Do it at night, okay? I want to get it done in the morning. Like I said before, it frees you. When you get your work completed, it lets you be open to other things. Enjoy the rest of the day. This time block will allow you to do that. Now, if your time block starts at 8 o'clock and ends at 12 o'clock, well then, for me, I know that I don't enjoy just jumping into my work right away, okay? I like to do the things that get me in a really good state. I like to have a good meal. I like to work out. I like to meditate. I like to, do the things that wake me up, that make me vibrate, man. Make me really excited to start my time block. All right, clocking in, boom. Clocking in, 4 hours. I'm there. So, whatever it is that's going to get you up. If I start at 8, man, 8 to 12, well then I might need to get up at 7. I might need to get up at 6. I might need to go to bed At 10, I might need to go to bed at 11. Okay? I might need to start adjusting and tweaking myself so that I can make this a very high priority. That is very important, man. Don't break the chain, guys. Man, I keep telling myself a mantra. Don't break the chain, Elisha. Don't break the chain. You're going strong. The wheels are turning. I call my friend up. Don't break the chain. Keep the momentum going. It's easy to lose momentum. It's hard to get momentum, guys. It's hard to get those wheels turning, right? Once they're turning, though, it holds power. We hold power in momentum. What I love about Seinfeld's method is that it resonates with everything I know to be true. It's simple. It's based on doing one thing, and it creates its own momentum. You could look at the calendar and be overwhelmed. How can I commit to this for an entire year? And be honest with yourself, guys. I'm looking at myself now. How can I commit for an entire year? Okay? But then a week goes by and you did it. You didn't break the chain. 2 weeks goes by. You didn't break the chain. You look back and you've got this new value to the man. You've got this newfound legacy. You're building on your legacy. The work that you put in, the chain of habit is being built. You're discovering your legacy and things are falling into place when you don't break the chain. We ask ourselves, how can I commit to this for an entire year? But the system is designed to bring your biggest goal to the now and simply focus on making the next X. The next X on the calendar. 1 day down, 2 days down, 3 days down. As Walter Elliott said, perseverance is not a long race. It's many short races, one after another. As you complete these short races and get a chain going, it gets easier and easier. Momentum and motivation start to take over. Listen here, there is magic in knocking down your most important domino day after day. All you have to do is avoid breaking the chain 1 day at a time. We avoid breaking the chain, guys, 1 day at a time until you generate a powerful new habit in your life. The time blocking habit. Sounds simple? Time blocking is if you protect it. It says it's important to protect these time blocks. We put this time in a block, okay? 8 to 12. It's important that we protect our time blocks from those who don't know what matters most to you, and from yourself when you forget. Maybe you live at home and you have family. Your environment plays a huge role in how productive you are, in your creativity, in your planning and putting priorities first. You have to make sure that you are the captain of the ship, guys, on building these time blocks. Okay? Your parents, your siblings do not know the importance of your goals. They do not know the importance of your priority, so you have to protect this. Okay? The distractions, the outside, you have to be very careful. You have to put up blocks to that. The best way to protect your time blocks is to adopt a mindset that they can't be moved. So when someone tries to double book you, just say, I'm sorry. I already have an appointment at 8 o'clock, and offer other options. If the other person is disappointed, you're sympathetic, but ultimately unmoved, grounded, and focused. Man, no one tells you this shit, guys. No one tells you how much focus, how much priority it takes to be successful. Okay? No one is going to tell you, dude, sit down, block 4 hours out of your day. You have to do this right? You have to develop habits and tell other people, I'm sorry, man. My girlfriend, I'm sorry, girl. You know, I've got to do this. My friends, sorry, bros. I'm busy. Okay? Because they're not doing this. Plebs, ordinary people are not doing this. This is difficult stuff, man. This takes laser focus. It takes a lot of glycogen. It takes a lot of commitment. Big commitment, big thinking, big sacrifice, massive sacrifice. And then to protect it, to block out, man. Extraordinary results oriented people, the very people who have the most demands on their time, do this every day. They keep their most important appointment. I don't know if you guys have seen a CEO or a man of immense value. I sometimes see the CEO of the company walk into work and everyone wants to say hello, and he's very quick. He's very polite but quick. Hello, hello, hello. You know, quickly shake your hand, but he's on to the next. He's got a mission. He's got a time set, okay? You do not just get this man's time. You do not just get this man's for a quick conversation. No. His time is too valuable. He's making more money than all these ordinary people, than all his workers, because he knows how to manage his time. And guess what? He's not going to give you his time because he's not going to give you his money. So, 4 quick tips, finishing up here. 4 quick tips to this time blocking. Day in and day out, your own need to do other things instead of your one thing may be your biggest challenge to overcome. Alright. Tip number 1. Build a bunker. Find somewhere to work that takes you out of the path of disruption and interruption. If you have an office, get a do not disturb sign. If it has glass walls, install shades. If you work in a cubicle, get permission to put up a folding screen. If necessary, go elsewhere. So, look at my space. I've got a chalkboard, I've got a chair, I've got a wall, I've got a map, I've got some books. When I put that camera there, man, I'm sitting down, I'm committing, okay? I'm committing, I'm in my bunker right here. I know when this is in the middle of my kitchen. This is in the middle of my kitchen, guys. When I look at this place, I think that's your video chair. That's where you're making videos today. That's where you're sharing ideas. That's where you're sitting down. That's what I associate this. This is my bunker. This is my work spot. What's yours? Have a bunker. Have a room. Somewhere that you can go that your mind associates work with. The biggest thing is a lot of guys work in their room. Which is, I mean, sure, you can be productive anywhere, but you want an optimal productivity place. If you're in your room where you sleep, right, you're working right next to your bed, what do you think your mind associates with? So, if you're reading in bed, what do you think your mind's associating with? Falling asleep. Okay? You want to be in your bunker where your mind knows it's time to get shit done. Baby, let's go. I'm in my zone. Store provisions. This is number 2. Have any supplies, materials, snacks, or beverages you need on hand. And other than for a bathroom break, avoid leaving your bunker. A simple trip to the coffee machine can derail your day should you encounter someone seeking to make you a part of theirs, right? As soon as, man, we encounter someone that's seeking to make us a part of their day, and we derail ourselves. It's easy to get sucked in. People are very generous with their time, guys. Whew. You see it far too often in the workplace, Anywhere you go, far too generous with their time. It's hard to say no, I'm busy. Okay, I'm sympathetic, right? Have sympathy, but be unmoved, be grounded, be focused. I've got to get back to work. So keep the supplies, the materials, the snacks near you. Number 3, sweep for minds. Turn off your phone, shut down your email, and exit your internet browser. Your most important work deserves 100% of your attention. So we sweep for minds, get it clean. Huge one, man. It's too easy. Like maybe on your browser, what did it hit? Who is this guy? The mortal but still immensely talented business author Dan Heath. He bought an old laptop. He deleted all its browsers, and for good measure, deleted its wireless network drivers, and would take his Wayback Machine to a coffee shop to avoid distractions. Between the two extremes, you could just find a vacant room and simply close the door. But what does he deleted everything on his computer, and so he couldn't do it. He said, "I would get too distracted." Man, if you're like working on your phone, if you're trying to read something important on your phone, you got emails popping up, text left and right, you got your phone going off in the middle, so turn that shit off. Sweep the room clean of minds, right? Get rid of any distractions. You don't get time to be thrown off, man. You can get in flow real easy, I've noticed. You get in flow, and then something will throw you right off. And then you got to come back, and it's hard to come back. Number 4, enlist support. I think I'm losing my voice. Enlist support. Tell those most likely to seek you out what you're doing and when you'll be available. It's amazing how accommodating others are when they see the big picture and know when they can access you. If ultimately you continue a tug of war to make time blocking, if you continue to tug of war to make time blocking take place, then use the focusing question to ask, what's the one thing I can do to protect my time block every day, such that by doing it, everything else I might do will be easier or necessary? What's the one thing I can do to protect my time block every day? So, one thing that I can do to protect my time block is to give myself more time. Right? Many of us can probably say, give ourselves more time so that we can get into a state of flow. Right? I don't need more time to be more productive. No, I need more time to make sure that, because many of us lead busy lives, man. Right? We need to get in flow. I need to meditate. I need to eat a healthy meal, and I need to work out. My well. Right? That's my well. I'm pulling from there. I have to do those, man, or else I'm going to be in a low state for this time block. I'm going to not be able to produce good. I'm not going to be able to sit down and read. My body's going to be like, all right, I want to go, I want to move. No, I need to do those 3 things. So, giving myself time. I need to get rid of distractions. I need to cancel certain things. It's easy, me and my buddy, having an appointment, a meeting in the morning. Well, maybe that meeting needs to be later in the day so that I can devote this 4 hours. Okay, maybe that can wait because I know that I'm not going to be as productive. Now, I'll leave you guys here with this little illustration. what's my one thing? Sorry, here. What's my one thing? Okay. This is, I'm going to use a little domino right here. This is my someday goal. Okay. Put some more. This is my 5-year goal. This is my monthly. This is my 1 year. So 1 year. This is my monthly. This is my weekly. This is my daily. And this is my right now. I know you guys probably can't read that. Okay, so right here we have our someday goal, the last domino, the 5-year goal, the 1 year goal, the monthly goal, the weekly goal, the daily goal, and the right now. Alright, if we ask ourselves, well, what do I have to do right now to get to my someday goal? That's pretty difficult. That's not going to work. That's not how it works. Okay? If I ask myself, what's the someday goal? And work back. Well, what do I have to do with my 5-year goal to get? What do I have to do with my 1 year goal? What do I have to do with my monthly, my weekly, my daily? What can I do right now? And by doing such, make everything else easy or unnecessary.